Listening to music is one of the most important things you can do as a musician. I don't care what genre of music you play, what instrument you play. If you want to play music at a high level, you need to be listening to music. The role of music has transformed a lot in the last 1,000 years. It started off as a way for the community to come together, and somewhere along the line when humanity became more connected, it became a spectacle where you'd have these large audiences watching people perform music. And I feel like today it's become much more of a product that we consume. You know, you can look through Spotify and see how it's changed in the last 10 years. It used to mainly categorize music by genre, but now if you look at the browse page, it's a bunch of moods. Music for workouts, music for wellness and calmness, music for sleep, music to boost your mood, chill music to relax to, music to study and focus, dinner music, gaming music, party music. It goes on and on. It's actually pretty funny, but for the record, I don't think it's a bad thing or some kind of abomination. Listening to music while you're doing something else is really nice, but it can create some dangerous listening habits. When you're doing things like playing video games and listening to music, or working on an essay or studying, you know, listening to music becomes the secondary thing we do at this point, to pair with the main thing we're doing. It's really easy to pair music with so many different activities. You just need your ears. On the one hand, I really do love going through my day with the soundtrack, with, you know, different songs giving me different vibes as the mood for the day progresses and the sun sets. But it's also no replacement for active listening, aka sitting down and just listening to music. For visual artists, the canvas you use is very tangible. It's a physical rectangle of some sort right in front of you. But for musicians, our canvas is a lot more abstract. Time is our canvas. Our brush strokes leave a fragmented mark on the past. As a listener, active listening is a transaction. You are paying to listen to this music. You are paying with time, and time is not renewable. Not for you, not for me, not for Jeff Bezos. This transaction ends up being a little too costly for a lot of people. So, at its core, this is why active listening is important. It's saying no to multitasking. It's spending your time intentionally on the music with no other intentions of doing something else in that moment. And once you sit and listen to the music, doing nothing else, something magical happens. You start to absorb it. Regardless of if you're a musician or not, active listening will let the music seep deep into your mind and body on a subconscious level. In a lot of YouTube videos, active listening is tossed around as being one of the most important things a musician can do, but it can be kind of frustrating when you don't actually know how to actively listen. We already have the first part down, which is getting rid of distractions. You know, have your phone out of sight. If you're listening on the computer, have your tabs closed, just full screen the music itself depending on what platform you're using. You could turn off the lights and close your eyes, which I like doing sometimes, but you don't need to. It's like meditating, you know, there's open eye meditation and closed eye meditation. Now comes the hard part. You're going to be listening and your mind's going to wander, naturally. You're gonna think to yourself, what should I be thinking about while actively listening? Should I be analyzing the harmonies that are being played? Should I try to figure out the time signature, the instrumentation, or the form of the song? Or should I just turn my brain off and get rid of all these thoughts? If you're listening to a song for the first time, I think it's usually best to just be present with that song. You can analyze and figure things out in subsequent listenings. But to truly ingest a song, being present for it for as much of it as you can is so important. One big tip about how to be present with music while you're listening is to focus on just the literal sounds you're hearing. Literally just focus on how the sounds are hitting your ears. Totally engulf yourself in that sound. Having quality headphones or speakers will help, but try not to damage your hearing by listening for too long or using headphones for too long. If, while you're listening to music, your mind has some thought or some tangent and you get kind of lost, that's okay. Just try to bring yourself back into the present with the music. Also, this should be a no-brainer, but don't skip or pause the song. Listening through and finishing the song is really important. And I get that sometimes that might not be easy and you might get bored. I've been there, especially when it's a 10-minute jazz standard where people are taking like 3-minute solos. You can get a little tired after a while. Active listening is kind of like a workout for your ears, so really start out small. If you haven't done much active listening before and it seems like a lot, just listen to one song and be really present. And then you can build it up until you're listening to 30 minutes of music actively a day. But yeah, so far, everything I've been talking about is really just one aspect of active listening, that meditative silent mind mode. But you can bring thought and focus into the mix too. Those are just other types of active listening. One of my favorites is doing a single instrument focused kind of listening, where you zone in on only one of the instruments in the song. As a musician, you'll naturally be good at listening to the instrument you play, but try making a challenge of really focusing in on other instruments. Like, for example, if I'm listening to some Bill Evans trio records, maybe I'll listen to the bass for a whole song. The amazing part about single instrument focused listening is that the next time you listen to the whole song, you'll really understand how the instruments complement each other in a way that you didn't before. So for me, in that example, I'll be much more aware of what the bass is doing and how it complements that trio as a whole. You can also do a more analytical type of listening, where you try to figure some things out as you listen. You can try to understand the form and the structure of the song being played. Is it a pop song with a verse, a chorus, verse, chorus, bridge? Is it an AABA jazz standard with solos in the middle and then trading fours afterwards? Is the A section 16 bars or 32 bars? What's the time signature? What's the style of the song? What are the rhythms that are being played and repeated? What's the chord progression? Some of these questions you'll be able to answer while listening, while some of them you'll have to go to your instrument afterwards and transcribe some stuff. But yeah, this type of analytical thinking is definitely good to do, but sometimes it takes the fun out of purely listening to music. And for me, it can stress me out a lot when I'm listening to music. Like, oh god, I don't know what the chord progression is right now. I don't know exactly what's happening from a music theory standpoint. It does feel really good to be able to put everything you hear into these categorized boxes. But, music doesn't need to make sense. You don't need to know everything that's going on. So yeah, I'd say analytical listening is important, but it takes away from the presentness of your listening, which, in my opinion, is probably more important. So try to find a good balance between those two. There's a really big trap with active listening that a lot of musicians fall into, and that's when you're trying too hard to be productive or outcome-focused with your listening. Don't think about how listening to this song will help you get better at something. At least don't think about it while you're listening. Just make it fun for yourself, honestly, or else you're not going to do it. Thank you so much for watching, if you made it this far. And please subscribe, like the video, comment. I'm going to be making a lot more educational and hopefully helpful music content. And yeah, go out there and listen to some music.